Welcome to Level Yourself Up, where it's not about perfection but progress. I am your host, John Budd, and I want to welcome you back to the show today. I hope you're all doing really well. And as we get off on this adventure of the 5 things you can do to improve 2020, last week I talked about those 5 things, and one of them that we're going to go in a little deeper this week is our health. But just to kind of recap, the 5 things that we're talking about are retraining our mind, our health, our relationships, time, and our spirituality. But as I was digging into retraining our mind, I had so much that I was trying to figure out how to condense down and put into this podcast. I wasn't sure how to mold it together with everything. So with that, I decided to just kind of move on into health, which is still a pretty big topic. And all these are, if you want to break them down. But so we're going to kind of peruse through the health, at the items that we often, when we bring that up, we think of exercise and food. But I want to look at other aspects of our health. So let's start off with rest. Rest is one of the greatest gifts God gave to mankind. And I say that because when you read the Bible, it said on the 7th day God rested. There's several places that he tells us we need to enter into his rest. And rest is kind of synonymous with peace. But I want you to think about when we rest in something, we're kind of trusting, we put our faith in something. When we rest in God, we're putting our faith and hope and trust in him and the work that he's done. So think about when we rest, we've done all we can do is rest. So sometimes when we do all our work, it's kind of like planting a garden. You water the seeds, you take care of them, you keep them weeded. But at a certain point, you just rest and hope everything comes out all right. And some of that you keep on weeds and maintaining. But I'm talking about there's a period of time where you just rest and you enjoy the reaping of the hard work. So I think daily we should rest in God and spend time with him, and that can take forms in many different ways. So for me, when I look at rest, it could be reading, gardening, you going for a walk or sitting. It's kind of just enjoying my space, and it could be enjoying company with friends. And like I said, a lot of these overlap. So I also think we should be invited to stop stressing and worrying about things. That when we learn to rest, we're walking in peace and abiding in peace, not in stress and worry. To learn to work each of our problems to the best that we can. Like I said before, when we've done all we can do, we just stand and trust that it'll all work out. And sometimes we'll see we have to do a little bit more work, and so we do that. But most of all, we take a break from worry and stress and the things that kind of creep in on you. And I think, they could look many different ways. Maybe it's an hourly thing or a daily thing. So just let that speak to you, how that works for you. So the next one I'm going to talk about is breathing. And one thing I noticed when I had COVID was that often we don't breathe right. And we talk about exercise, but we rarely exercise our lungs. One of the exercises they gave me was to take a deep breath through my nose and then blow out slowly through my mouth like I was blowing through a straw. And you do that 10 times. Many benefits to just breathing right. It helps slow our heartbeat. It increases our immunity. It reduces stress. It heightens our focus. One of the things I know I did a podcast on it a while back, but look at the Wim Hof technique, and I'll put a link in the show notes to a couple of his things. But one of his rounds of breathing includes taking in strong inhalation through the nose, then let out a relaxing breath through the mouth, and you repeat that for 30 breaths. Exhale to 90%. Then on the 30th one, you exhale to 90% and hold that as long as you can. And then it says when you feel your body really need to breathe, inhale fully and hold that for 15 seconds before releasing. Then you're supposed to do that whole technique 3 consecutive times in a row. There for a while, I was doing that when when I did that podcast. I have to admit, I kind of got out of that habit. But I think there is some great benefit in breathing. Even now, I have a little bit of a cold, and I find myself going back to this breathing techniques. And, it's probably worth me putting on a timer to go back and do that. So like I said, I'll put a link to his website and the YouTube video. I think that's covers it, but I think it's very important that we breathe. Take a deep breath and just breathe, especially when we're stressed. I think when we get all excited and anxiety, sometimes to just take that deep breath, it just has a calming effect on us. So the next one I have is water. Many of us don't drink enough water to stay naturally hydrated. And most of us, I was reading that 75% of adults are in some sort of chronic mild dehydration. I would say that we need to drink around a gallon of water a day. There's some formulas based on your weight or your weight and how much you should drink. But I think a good rule of thumb is just try to drink a gallon of water a day or work up to that. One of the things I thought was interesting, I went and looked this up so I'd have some of these numbers. It said that even a decrease in hydration as little as 1 to 3% can result in cognitive loss and other ailments and can lead to serious health concerns and diseases. And dehydration, we often think it's like fainting and severe headaches and being hooked up to the IV, but a lot of us, we drink caffeine and food, and so, that gallon includes everything we drink. What about just the quality of water? I think that's important too. But so some of the signs of dehydration, weird signs, I thought this was interesting, was bad breath, fatigue, trouble losing weight. And I've read many health books of doctors. They all talk about it having an increased water to help you lose weight. Your dark urine or not peeing enough, you're bloating, dry skin, not sweating, weight gain, chapped lips, moodiness, brain fog, poor sleep, dark circles under your eyes, joint pain, muscle cramps, headaches, and I'm sure there's tons of more. But I thought those were interesting, and I would say that out of those I read, I have seen those effects. I think a lot of times in this past week, I haven't drank as much as I have been. I have 3 water bottles I drink, and those are 16 ounces a piece. Drinking 3 of those is 48 ounces. And I don't know how many ounces in a gallon off the top of my head, but I'm well on my way. And I know I feel better if I drink that much. So the other one I want to bring in here is food, the quality of food. I think foods react differently, but I know when I eat junk food and food that's not good for me, I definitely don't feel as good. When I eat healthier, I feel healthier. Now, maybe that's some in my head, but I do know that the less carbs I eat, the better I feel after I eat. So I'm not here to push an agenda. I just want to share some of the facts and things I've learned. I think food's important. One of the struggles I have is the quality of the food and the amount of food I tend to eat. Then the next topic I want to talk about is sleep. Now, I've been reading a book before I even thought about this topic, and it's called Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker. A lot of data and facts that, they're good. But for me, the book is kind of labors a lot in the details here. And just for me personally, that wasn't fitting for me. So I kind of skipped through it. But a lot of the details are great. I just already know them. So I had a hard time sticking through the book. So without skipping, and I'm just being honest here, but I think if you don't know the benefits of sleep, then that book's great for you. I've read many books about sleeping and dreaming and all that. So I do know that when we sleep it's one of the times that we heal. And on average, we need 6 to 8 hours of sleep. I used to think I could go on 2 and 3. That is not the case now. I would say if I get to bed by 10:30, I sleep the best quality of sleep. And that the first night, and he goes into a lot of this detail, just confirming what I already kind of knew by myself from watching my own sleep patterns. But if I go to bed early, and there's different sleep, as you know, there's different sleep patterns. So he tells you the benefits of each sleep pattern, that you kind of can't just catch up on sleep. You need both sides of the REM sleep and the, I don't know all the names of the sleep cycle off the top of my head. I just felt better if I can get to bed about 10:30 and I get up without an alarm, which typically would be about 7, sometimes 6 o'clock. And I think that's another thing. If you need an alarm, get up. You probably are not getting enough sleep. And I think that's true. I've been trying since I've been sick with COVID and healing from that. I've been trying to listen to my body more about sleep and going to bed. I used to try to stay up till midnight and run on 6 hours of sleep. And I can do 6 hours pretty good, but I really feel the best if I'm getting 7.5. That's kind of my sweet spot. If I go over that, I wake up kind of achy in my joints and hurting, and then that could be, my bladder's killing me type of thing. But there's a lot that goes on in your sleep cycle that helps you heal, helps you lose weight. And I know I'm forgetting a lot of stuff I want to say here, but it's just not coming back to me. And I evidently didn't write it down in my notes very well. So, that's the main topics of health I wanted to discuss with you today and share with you. How about you? What do you think is special about health? What do you tend to focus on? I would like to know. Just to recover is to get good rest, good quality of food, drinking water and the quality of our water, that sleeping's important and breathing, and that I don't believe diets work, but it's a change in your lifestyle. So that's what I got to say about health. And I hope you get a lot out of this breakdown. If you, by rights, almost each topic could have their own podcast, but, so I'm not sure what I'm going to talk about next week yet, and it will be from one of those that I listed earlier. I'm putting a lot of work in retraining our thinking and our mind, just because there's some things I want to work on personally that I am working on and have been working on. And a couple areas I've not had a lot of success, so I've been hesitant to share because I think it's me, not the techniques. I know it's me. I'm kind of resistant to a couple of the processes, and that can just be, it is just me. There's things in our life sometimes, right, that we just don't want to do. And we got to do a little digging why. So that's enough of that. I hope you get a lot out of this. I appreciate you listening to this. Would you hit the subscribe button, share it with your friends? I've been trying to share this more on social media as well. So feel free to send me an email. Tell me what you want to hear. Some of the topics I have lined up. I may post in my Facebook group and get some feedback there. So go on Facebook, look up Level Yourself Up. You can request to join. That would be awesome to see you come in. Well, I just launched that group as well. So this is the first time I've even said anything. I think I posted the question, how can this group help you? So just a way to support this podcast. All right, my friends, God bless. You have a great day, and I will see you next week.